Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mark Linsang from Techno Buffalo, and what time is it? It's Pebble Time! Wait, was that corny? Yeah, it probably was. Today we'll be taking a closer look at the latest wearable from Pebble, the Pebble Time. I've been using the Time for about 2.5 weeks already, and I think it's time to give you guys our full review. The Pebble Time is different from past Pebbles in that it has a more attractive rounded design along with a colored e-ink display. It's fairly thin and looks a lot like the Apple Watch from afar. It's also very lightweight and water resistant for up to 30 meters, which means you can take the wearable for a quick surf sesh. If you're looking for a stylish smartwatch that can double as a luxury timepiece, the Pebble Time is neither. Like its predecessor, the Pebble Time is more geek than stylish, though that's not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't look as premium as something like the Watch Urbane, but it is a comfortable watch that doesn't feel too bulky. Like other smartwatches, you'll be able to replace the stock 22mm silicone band with other third-party 22mm bands. The real differentiator between the Time and the original Pebble is the display, which is now in color. Instead of going with an OLED panel or LCD panel, Pebble opted for a colored e-ink display, which means that the screen isn't as bright and luminous as other smartwatches with an OLED panel. However, there are some advantages to this technology. One, the display is always on, so there's no need to press a button or flick your wrist to see what time it is. Two, the display is easy to look at under really bright sunlight, which is where other smartwatches like the Apple Watch fall short. However, the Pebble Time's e-ink display struggles in low light situations. There is an LED backlight that you can turn on when you flick your wrist, but the backlight is pretty weak and turns off after a few seconds, which can be a bit frustrating if you're trying to read your notifications. As of now, there aren't any options to tweak the backlight, but hopefully a firmware update in the future will make the backlight better. One thing that I didn't like so much about the Time's display were the huge bezels. There's a bunch of wasted space all around the display, and I would have liked to see Pebble minimize this. It's exacerbated even further by the Time's bright colors, which makes the bezel stand out even more. When it comes to performance, the Pebble Time is much better than its predecessor. I haven't run into any issues yet, everything is smooth and lag-free. Going through different menus, reading notifications, and changing watch faces all felt very smooth and instantaneous despite the new animations. And speaking of the new animations, I'm still on a fence with this. While the UI provides a very refreshing look to Pebble's new smartwatch, the new animations make it feel like I'm using a kid's toy. Maybe it's something I'll eventually get used to, but so far I'm still on the fence about it. Just like the original Pebble, you'll need to pair the watch with the phone in order for it to work. There's a new Pebble Time app which is available on both Android and iOS. Once you have the smartwatch paired, you can start downloading new watch faces, apps, and games. There are over 8,000 apps available in the Pebble App Store, from Uber, Misfit, ESPN, Jawbone, plus thousands of independent apps and hundreds of watch faces that are designed specifically for the new colored e-ink display. The biggest addition to the Pebble Time's new software would probably be the new timeline feature, which lets you see your upcoming schedule and also see what you might have missed recently by pressing on the up and down buttons. It'll also show you the weather information for the day along with the sunset and sunrise, which is handy. The new timeline feature also supports third-party apps like ESPN, for example, will show sports scores in upcoming games. Uber will show you the estimated time for your ride, which is pretty neat. The idea behind this timeline metaphor is that you no longer need to launch an app to find out information. You can simply look at your timeline and see your information front and center. Just like other smartwatches, you'll be able to receive text messages. As for what you can do with those, well, you can only reply to a text message if you're using an Android device. Due to a restriction in iOS, users who are using an iPhone will only be able to dismiss a message and nothing more. On Android, you'll be able to choose from a list of canned responses or respond by voice. It was pretty accurate most of the time, though it wasn't as fast as something like Google Now on Android Wear. When it comes to battery life, Pebble promised the Time could last an entire week, but from my experience, the Time only lasted about 5 days, 6 if I was using the watch very lightly. I had it paired to my Nexus 6 the first week I had it, and paired it with my iPhone 6 the second week. I didn't really notice the difference in battery life when I switched from the Nexus 6 to my iPhone 6, but you do get more features using an Android device, such as replying to text messages. If you're looking for a smartwatch that features an always-on screen, offers great battery life, and compatibility with both Android and iOS, the Pebble Time could be your next smartwatch. Of course, it isn't as luxurious looking as the Apple Watch or some of the more fancier looking Android Wear devices, but it sure is a nice alternative to the other two platforms. The Pebble Time is available for pre-order for $199 at the time of making this video, and will be available by the end of July. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and we will see you guys in the next one.